that answer that?
Okay.
Kind of?
Kind of, sort of.
For example, I took a trade in $1.
What kind of trade? What kind of trade?
I went long at 81.
What kind of trade was that? There's a strategy to that. When you went long at 81, right? There was...
The 60-minute box.
Okay, all right, there we go. So you did a 60-minute box, 4-pound roadblock.
Or it was 82 or something like that.
Okay.
4 color, almost.
Okay.
It falls into a range and then it's stuck on it. My stop point is 20 points.
Okay.
How long is there a time limit that I should wait out to see if I need to get out of it? And it ranges between -2 to -13 points.
Okay. You guys heard that question? It's a very good question. She took a position on euro dollar. She got in on a 60-minute 4-pound roadblock. And her question is, how long does she hold that position before she decides she wants to exit? My best, and I always say this, and this is, keep an eye on your 1 minute. What is your 1 minute doing? And that's really your barometer when you get into a trade. I have found for the majority of you traders, and I'll include myself in that, we want to get in a trade fast and we want to get out fast. And then with profits, it's great for this up here when you can get out, put points in the bank, and now if you start learning how to manage multiple positions, you can hold on to another position and maybe give it the chance that it needs. And two things will happen. Let's say if you collect 10, 12 points out of that position, and you decide that the other position remaining, let's say you did, two. I'm going to answer a lot more here, but before we go to where I'm going, I would look at the 1 minute box. What is your 1 minute box doing? If your 1 minute box is working against you, so you went long, your 1 minute box is beginning to recalculate down against you. That's your goal. That's where you want to get out. And the moment that 1 minute box gets really close to your entry level, at that time, I normally would like to get out of that trade and minimize the loss. If, the loss is somewhere, like you said, 3 points, 4 or 5 points, I'll take it. I'll take that loss because I know how I can make that back fast. I don't want at that time to take any longer the risk of 20.
But my question was, what is that time limit?
There is no time. Yeah, there is no time limit. For me, it's an internal clock. And that internal clock really gets to the point to where I can see the price. I'm so much involved in the price movement that the price movement is my time clock. And if that time clock is moving quickly against me, then my internal time clock is telling me I want to get out as fast as I can. Now, I do get out of trades too quickly, too fast sometimes. And this morning was a good example of that. We got out of a euro dollar trade, which was a very good trade down in the teens level, and we got out with 2 points. And then eventually the trade, goes up and it does give us 15 points. I understand that, but it's, that is my discipline. And so once my 1 minute was working against me, that is what I look for, and that's my time clock right there. And so I've got to act on it. Now, if I start breaking those rules, then eventually what I'm sending to my subconscious mind is really mixed signals. And so there's going to be times when it's like, okay, do I get in? Do I get out? And you can't trade if you're questioning, do I get in? Do I get out? Do I hold? Whatever. Now your emotions take over. So unfortunately, we can only focus on a technical at that time. And if the technical is telling me, because it's the easiest technical that you can focus on, because everything else is going to be too cluttered. So if at least you've got one simple technical that you can keep an eye on, which most of you guys, you can see it right in front of you. It's recalculating. You see it. The moment it starts getting too close, and you don't have that gap anymore that originally you took positions in, so the gap is closing on you, I close it, I get out, and then I look for the next opportunity. And I don't stress out on the fact that, oh gosh, if I got help. I'm telling you, every time you'll close it, all of a sudden the big move that you were waiting for will happen. And you're going to see, oh gosh, I knew I should have held it. No, because then this is what's going to happen too. Many times when you get out, then you'll also see the trade just go where, against you had you stayed with it. And rather than taking a 20-point hit, you've been able to master and get out of it with 5 points loss or a few points. So it works both ways, and I have found for this up here, it's better to get out, lose a few points, and then re-enter at another opportunity than hold something and then see it just work against you because you held it too long and then all of a sudden you're upside down 20 points. All right. Any other question? 1 minute boxes is really how the best. I've said two things. If there's anything you guys pick up from me here, and that is look at your 1 minute box, try to take entries where you can catch at least a 20-point gap from your 1 minute box, wherever you get in, and then keep it on your 1 minute box to give you an idea of how long you want to hold that trade. Okay? And then once you can do that, you master that, then we can start getting into managing multiple positions. And that's where I was going to get into that, and I said, well, wait a second, let me just answer this. And then, once you can do that, then we'll do the other stuff, which is managing. Cashing out, there's two ways of managing positions. One is always cashing out with your 10, 12. If you can get 15, 20, better, but again, at least double digits, it's always what I'm looking for. Put points in the bank, and then if you're holding on to another position, immediately what I like to do is I don't like to give anything back. I'm stingy, all right? I'm stingy. I don't want to give anything back. So I'll put a break even. I get stopped out a lot. My other position, a lot of times, just doesn't make money for me. There's another way of playing it, and that is sometimes, well, if I already made 10 or 12, and let's say I took a position, I'm with the trend, and this, I feel really good about this trade, that it has potential to go, in the direction I took it, and I see a lot of things are in my favor. Well, what I'll do is when I cash out at 10 or 12, then I may go ahead and put in my stop. Rather than break even, I'll just put in a stop at about 10 or 12. So if that trade goes against me, I won't lose money. I'll kind of get out of it with no money at all, or a little bit of money. But that's a trade that I think has good potential to go, and I might do that. But see, now you start getting into a lot of different psychological, and you can make a lot of mistakes, and we make mistakes. There are a lot of times that I'll take positions, and I realize that I closed at a certain portion, and then when I enter, and I'm thinking I'm entering a full portion, and all of a sudden I realize, oops, I only entered a partial portion. So that's the part about trading that, this is why you need to be so focused every day on precisely what you're doing. And I can tell you, when I'm doing too many things, and I'm trying to make trade calls, evaluate, trying to make max, there's a lot going on, mistakes are made. So the best way to simplify mistakes is keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. So right now, if you guys can do 2 or 3 trades a day, you're cashing in 8, 10, 12 points, just think you do that 3 times a week. And you're patient. You don't have to do anything that, the market is not giving you the opportunity. You don't do anything. I wanted you to evaluate last week and then this week, because this is another thing you really need to look at. Last week. What happened last week? What was happening last week?
There was a lot of news and it caused a lot of up and down in the market.
You guys heard that? A lot of news. It caused a lot of uncertainty in the market, right? As a new trader, even as a pro, it causes me a lot of, because there's a lot of conflicting information coming out. As a new trader, you should be trading. Those are the weeks that when you see that, record it and say, this is a practice week. Yeah, practice week, practice day. That's what you should be doing. Notice when we've got days where there isn't that much news. Notice the difference yesterday and today. Much different, right?
Easier.
Before 8 o'clock this morning, I had 40 points in the bank. I was ready to wrap up and go. So, write that down in your journal. Any other questions? No? Good.